All right, shalom, shalom, Mr. Brother Mawasar.
Shalom, shalom, Mr. Brother Shamawa. All
All right, and today we're going into, like I said in the title, righteous women. You know, a lot of times they like to try to make it seem like, in the truth, that we don't like the women, which is false, completely false. They try to make it seem like all the women did was just have babies and sit back and not say nothing, while all the men took all the credit and all. That's completely false, also. All right, women are just as women are mentioned in the Bible alongside the men. I mean, everybody in the world know about the story of Adam and Eve. That's a story about a man and a woman, which leads me actually into my first point. Right, let's go into the creation of the woman. Right, it's Genesis chapter 2, and I want to start at I believe it's verse 18. Give me 1 second. All right, Genesis chapter 2 and verse number 18. It says, "And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him." And then as you read on down, all right, you drop down
you breaking up?
to verse.
Yeah, yeah, brother, going in and out, man. Right, but shalom. All praise to the Most High. We just going over righteous women. Women need to see the accounts of their foremothers, of our foremothers, how mighty and righteous they were. How they had to fear the Lord, faith in the Lord. Um, you know, and mighty in alms, charity, and we're gonna go through the precepts, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, right? And I'm pretty sure the brother brought out was getting into Genesis too, seeing what the woman is made for. Because our sisters, you powerful too. You're a princess that has power with God. It's not just man. The man and the woman are Israelites, right? This is Genesis chapter 2. Let me see, verse. Let me see what you wanted. Um, if that's what you wanted, Genesis 2. Right, Genesis 2, verse 18, right? It says, "And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him," right? And so the woman, hey, they made for a helpmeet for the man. A man shouldn't dwell alone. Yes, you have eunuchs, that man, want to, strive for the kingdom, not be married. But the woman is an helpmeet. She is helpful, a righteous woman. You good up? You good up?
Man, I don't know what just. Oh,
Yeah,
you can hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
That's crazy. You can hear me now, right?
God.
Okay. Okay. What's the last thing you heard?
All I heard was Genesis 2. I believe you went to 18, didn't you?
That's it, man. All right.
Yeah,
All right. I'm
God.
gonna let you finish, and then and so we can keep the video rolling. I'll get back in there later on.
Con, yeah, I literally brought out the same precept because I believe you brought out Genesis 2 and 18. I mean, you could just feed off me. I ain't gonna go too much. I'm gonna let you get in there, but the woman was made for a helpmeet. As what the brother pretty sure through the spirit what he was gonna get into, maybe even more. Like the woman is made for a helpmeet. A righteous woman. She's be able to be an helping hand for the man of the Lord. Not just any old woman. Not just stress and pleasure. If he needs some help around the house, maybe a bill or two, maybe finances, those things can happen, right? I'm gonna read that again. It says, "And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him and help me for him." Right? This is a righteous woman. As you see, a wicked woman is not an help meet for a man. She's just willing to destroy him, willing to defame him, right? But a righteous woman, Sarah, the Marys, right? Susanna's, I mean, we gonna bring them out. It's plenty of names in here. Anna, right? Many righteous women that was actually a help me for their husbands, right? For the Lord. See that? Because your first husband is Yahweh, right? Your first husband is, Yahweh or Yahweh Shah. So you are an help me to your husband, man. But you gotta you on mute.
The water, right? A lot of times when we speak on being a helpmeet, like the brother is saying, people get uncomfortable. They get real like jittery. It start getting weird, but it don't have to be, right? Because man, a helpmeet is nothing shameful. Like, what would be shameful about the Most High sitting back and saying, you know what, this man that I created, I don't want him to be by himself. So I'm going to create a woman just so this man cannot have to be by himself no more. That's how important a woman is. Having a woman is like, oh my God, okay, now I got some time to think about X, Y, and Z because I didn't have that time before. Any brother who ever had a woman, ever had a wife, that when you got a wife who actually there for you, actually care for you, actually support you, it just make life so much easier in so many ways. Because that's what a woman was created to do. Created to be a help me. So, like I was saying earlier at the beginning of the video, when they try to put this narrative out, like, oh, you know, well, what they call us the Black Hebrew Israelites, they feel this way about women and they feel that way about women. Hey, why they don't talk about when we teach this part when we say, hey, women was created to be with us? The Most High literally said, hey, I don't want the man to be by himself. Let me create this woman for him. And we believe wholeheartedly in that. Let me show you something else about how powerful the woman is. Right? First Peter chapter 3. And I'm gonna start at verse 1. It's First Peter chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may be slucky. They also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. So the too long didn't read on that is, hey, even if your husband not in the truth, but you are, by you having that conversation, let's think about how people who in the truth talk. We say all praise to the Most High to everything. Everybody in the world don't say that. Don't just give glory to the Most High for everything. Hey, if I find a parking spot that I didn't expect to be, all praise to the Most High. It's just natural at this point. That's how people in the truth talk. So if you a woman and that's how you talk around your husband all the time, eventually it's gonna start to catch on. That's why it says they also may without the word, meaning them that's without the word, them that don't have the truth, be won by the conversation of the wives. That's how powerful that you can be to your husband, right? You can have a husband. Look what happened with Abigail and Saul, or not Abigail and Saul, Abigail and Nabal. Hey, Nabal was finna get slain, man, and Abigail literally with the conversation saved that man's life when she went to go talk to David. It was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Y'all be cool. He be tripping sometimes, I know. spare him this one time, right? And we're not gonna get into that account right now for the sake of time, because I'm about to pass it to the brother in a second. But when it comes down to what you even say as a woman or as a wife in this context, that can bring you can bring a man into the truth of what you say. That's how powerful a woman is. Think about that. Your wife. Imagine that. Imagine it's your testimony and the truth. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? My wife was talking about this Israelite stuff. She kept putting this weird stuff on the bottom of her shirt with that blue stuff on it. After a while, I don't know, it started making a lot of sense. And then here he go. Hey, he going to camp now. He's saying all praise to the Most High like her, because she was being a righteous woman, like what we was talking about. Right? There's no scripture in the Bible that says that just because you are a woman who's around a man who's not righteous, that gives you an excuse to be unrighteous. Right? Because last time I checked, the Most High don't give a license to sin. But I ain't gonna bring out Sirach for right now. I'm gonna pass it back to the brother. You got it.
Yeah, hey, all praises. That's a mighty point. You know, you being a righteous woman. I mean, you know, her speech is very graceful, and it could give a man a lot of courage. It's a video. You know, they heathens. Maybe not so, but they could be heathens. It was a UFC fighter, a MMA fighter. His wife was he was like getting beat up, you know, and his wife was on the cage, like she was crying, like get up, and hey, and he ended up winning the fight. You know, just by the support, a loving, you know, woman, your wife, hey, you end up getting strength deep down inside of you that you didn't even know you had. You know, but that's all from, you know, a virtuous woman, you know, a woman of God. Right? This is Sirach chapter 26, verse 1. Right? It says, blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be double. And you see, when a man doesn't have a virtuous wife, his life is shortened. He's stressing. He got infirmities. His mind all over the place. You know, he complain all the time. You know, he around the brothers. He got his head down. He always on the phone. You could tell you could tell he irritated because he got a certain look on his face when he on the phone. You know, his days are not double. His days are long, man. He don't want to come back home. And because he doesn't have a righteous woman. You know. Right? Verse 2, it says a virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband. It said a virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband. Right? Man, be happy when he come home. He got peace. He had a bad day at work. You know, not even a bad day at work. He living in this, man. Earlier today, I hate life, man. Hate this life, man. Waking up in the morning, going to work. But once you clock out and you come home to a virtuous woman, you know, a woman of the Most High, you know, you doing what you need to do in the household. You know, you reading and studying, not your husband telling you to. You actually want to serve the Lord. You know, hey, it rejoices the husband, man. He come home peaceful. You ain't got to worry about nothing. Mind is clear. You know, he's not coming home with just damn more demons on him. Coming with demons outside and demons in the house. All right, reading on, it says, a virtuous woman rejoiceth of her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. And you see a lot of men die over heartbreaks and men kill themselves. Majority you see that with heathens, but you do see it in Israel, right? I'm gonna read verse 3. It says, a good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in a portion of them that fear the Lord. And a man, hey, it's only given to a portion that fear the Lord, you men. But as a righteous woman, you supposed to double the days of your husband, right? You stressing him out. You know he gotta do calls, maybe damn whatever office he have, or he may be in leadership, and you stressing him out in the house when he got to deal with a lot of things. You know, you're not even helping him to improve. You made him now. You making him think that he was more on fire than when he got with you. That's off. That's off. Like he was more on fire before he got with you. Like you don't want him thinking that, right? But you gotta.
God forbid you made your husband life worse when he met you. I mean, ever since you done got, hey, that's like every, you can hear me right?
Con, yeah, now I can.
Okay, for sure. I gotta make sure my connection be tripping. That's like every Tyler Perry movie, man. You got that one simp, right? You got that one dude, man, and every one, right? But when it comes down to being a righteous woman, you gotta understand that just like you got the power to build that man up, you got the power to tear that man down. You got the power to tear things down with your words. I'm gonna get two precepts right quick. It's I gotta get Sirach. It was gonna happen eventually. Right, it's Sirach chapter 27 and verse, or is it 28? 28 and verse 17. The stroke of the whip maketh marks in the flesh, but the stroke of the tongue breaketh the bones. So you gotta understand that words actually do hurt people. Contrary to what they say in the world, sticks and stones break bones, but words do hurt you. Yes, they do. Just think it's people who traumatized to this day about some things that was said to them or said about them when they was younger, when they was 12, when they was 15, when they was 7. All of them type of things because words hold weight. Now, as a woman, you got to understand that your words can make or break a man, can make or break another woman, can make or break a child, can make or break another person, can even make or break you. Let me get that in Proverbs chapter 14 in verse 1. It's Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 1. Every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. Right? Now, think about that visual that it just gave you, right? Why would you tear down your own house with your bare hands? Where else you gonna live? Imagine the house you in right now where you watching this video or the car you sitting in or wherever. Imagine if you just tore that down piece for piece and then you was like, okay, now what? Well then how you gonna get to where you gotta go? How you gonna get to work tomorrow? How you gonna put a roof over you and your child's head? It's the same way if you tear down your house spiritually. Every time he come in the house, he all type of lazy A-N-S and he B-A-N-S and hey, what do you think is gonna happen to that house if the man in there is just constantly getting beat down? God forbid physically, because I'm speaking on verbally, but Lord willing, the brother ain't getting beat down physically, right? So I'm gonna read that verse again. It's Proverbs 14 and 1. It says, every wise woman buildeth her house. If you a wise woman, you're gonna build your house. You're gonna build your husband. If a man is the strength of the house, which he is, you would be smart to, okay, I gotta live with this man. You know, I gotta depend on this man to protect me. Let me build him up with my words instead of tear him down. You know, he had a long day at work. Let me not make his day longer when he get at home. That's what a wise one would do to build her house. So that way, when that man leave out the door next time, oh, he good. You know, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. The foolish go live on Facebook, you know, my husband, you know, that spirit, let me get my follow, what they call it when you go live, let me get my viewers up spirit. Yeah, we not dealing with that, man. You know, you talk about, oh, girl, that girl, my husband, this spirit. We not doing that. That's not building up your house. And Eve, don't be a hypocrite, because let your man be doing it with his guys on how you gonna feel. Eve, how you be feeling you find out he done told your homeboys what you did, or his homeboys what you did, and y'all be in your feelings about it. So you gotta understand it's gonna be the same way the other way around. You gotta build your house, not pluck it down with your hands. Now let me get this in Sirach chapter 25, verse 23. Because if you decide, hey, I don't want to hear what that brother Mawasar or that brother Shemawa all was talking about in that one video that one day, I'm going to be a wicked Eve. I'm going to be a wicked one. I'm going to do whatever I want. Right? This verse is what happens. This Sirach chapter 25, verse 23. A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh an heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. Now, he said a lot. That's one verse. He said, a wicked woman abateth the courage. If you have a wicked woman, that can cause you to lose your sense of self. That's your courage. As a man, your sense of self, that confidence that I'm a man that you got. They say a wicked woman can take that from you. If you let her, look at Ahab. I mean, dude was Shemawa. Look at Ahab, bro. I mean, what happened to Samson? Bro, Samson is the perfect representation of of Jake nowadays. They all macho on the outside. They can do all these wonderful works. Jake be strong. Jake be 6'3". Jake can dress. They can do all this stuff on the outside, but on the inside, they letting this woman get in their head and get information out of them and play them, right? Because if you're dealing with a wicked woman, she can do that to you. That's what happened to Samson. I'm gonna keep reading. It says, "Maketh an heavy countenance." Like the brother said, you can see it on the brother's face when he dealing with a wicked woman. He come around and that be the most upbeat brother at the feast days. He get off the phone, brother ain't cracked the joke in 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Brother was pouring the teleport for other brothers. Hey, all praise to the Most High for another new moon. Brother don't even want to blow his trumpet no more, man. Now he ready to leave. He don't even want to dap brothers. He just walk, hey, where you going, brother? Hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm finna go on here to get up out of here. I'll catch y'all. That's off. All because he dealing with that wicked woman, man. Then it says a wounded heart. I mean, that's self-explanatory. A wounded heart. If you got a wicked woman, it can wound your heart. And you can literally die from you heard of heartstrings before?
Yeah, Con.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you know what I'm getting at, right? I'm trying to say it. I can't really think of the words, but your heart can literally fail for how you feeling, like your mind. Just like you can think yourself into a depression, you can stress yourself out so bad you can give yourself a heart attack. You can give yourself heart failure. Them type of things can actually happen. A wounded heart. People who got mental issues, when they put they brains on these scans, they show how they brains be shrinking, it be shriveling up in one area. They brain literally eating itself because they so sick mentally. That's what can happen to you. What happened to a wicked woman? What you think happened to these dudes, man? You know what I'm saying? They get married. They've been married for 5 years. He go from looking 25 to 40 by the time the divorce over.
Damn.
He ain't never been the same. You feel what I'm saying? Hey, it was that movie. That was that Tyler Perry movie. It was that same one when Bow Wow had that ghetto baby mama. When Madea ran the car through the drive-through. Hey, the big dude, he had that disrespectful son. You know what I'm talking about? He had that disrespectful son and disrespectful wife, and you could just see it on his face. He
Yeah.
had to speak and talk about it. He had to look around when he was talking to her brothers and them. Whoever seen the movie, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Y'all will get the analogy I'm trying to make. He was sitting there talking to his wife brothers, like kind of looking over his shoulder, and yeah, man, she don't never, that spirit that I hope my wife not come in spirit. That's what happened to you when you got a wounded heart, man. That man was his 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 manhood. I got to keep it clean. His manhood was cut off. She had him by the you know what. He wasn't even a man no more. Right? That's what can happen to you when you got a wicked woman. Let me finish this off, and then you got it. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. Man, brother, your body won't even be the same no more. You got a wicked woman. Just imagine you as a brother, right? You used to be on top of your health. You used to go to the gym. You used to hoop with the guys. You done got with this woman. She didn't talk you into getting fat. You done gained 250 pounds in 6 months. You don't hoop with you don't go get haircuts no more. You don't brush your teeth no more. None of that, right? All because you got this wicked woman telling you whatever she telling you. Now it's a wild analogy, but just imagine that happening to you financially, because you got a wicked woman. You got Jakes. Hey, Jakes be tricking now. Take their whole check, spend it on a woman who they don't even know like that. And now you being brought to a piece of bread, like it said, what happened to you in Proverbs 6. You give your all to a woman emotionally, and now you see Jake. Hey, I saw a video. I promise you, I'm not lying. I saw a video. This dude said this woman left this dude he knew. He came back to that same corner 20 years later, and that dude was still in that same neighborhood waiting on that woman to come back. Now, I don't know if it was true, but that's what he said in the video. It was either 10 years or 20. Either way, it was wild. Imagine 10 years later, this woman then broke you down to your knees so bad that you waiting 10 years later for her to come back. All because you had a wicked woman. But you got it.
Yeah, man, that ain't something you women wanna be. You sisters wanna be, man. That's off. And there's gonna be a cruel messenger for those sisters who wanna act like that. But let's get some mighty accounts of our foremothers, because this should, boost your faith. This should examine yourself. Hey, us men, when we see our foremothers, we gotta examine ourselves too. You know, right? This Second Maccabees chapter 7. I get verse 16. It says, "Then looked he unto the king and said, Thou hast power over men, thou art corruptible, right? Thou doest what thou wilt. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of Yahweh. But abide a while, and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed. After him also they brought the sixth, who being ready to die said, Be not deceived without cause, for we suffer these things for ourselves, having sinned against our God. Therefore, marvelous things are done unto us." Right? It says, "But think not thou that takest in hand to strive against God, that thou shalt escape punishment. Thou shalt escape unpunished," right? So as we, in this, we got this mother literally watching her kids get tormented, right? And this can happen in these, hey, the time running out. This is gonna happen. That fifth seal, you're gonna see your kids get tormented. You may see your husband get tormented, right? Hey, it's a chance to happen, and how you gonna react? Let's see how this mother react. And yes, her name is not mentioned, but as you see, she is mentioned. Her works are mentioned. When that time come, do you want your works mentioned? Do you want your name written, or your works written of wickedness, or your works written of righteousness? Your righteousness oversee the wicked works that you have done and you repented for. Right, verse 20. It says, "But the mother was marvelous above all, and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, she bare with a good courage, because the hope that she had in the Lord." See, you may see your husband get tormented. You may see your kids get tormented. But that didn't discourage her the most high. She bare with a good courage. She seen her kids getting tormented. All 6 of them. And that put a fire in her to have her have more faith in the most high. Because who can you run to? She realized that. Who can I run to? The only person who can save me is the Most High. So why not have courage, right? Read on, verse 21, it says, "Yeah, she exhorted every one of them in her own language." In the Hebrew, in her own language, right? It says, "Filled with courage and spirits." And women, you don't want to be a woman that just, not don't have courage and spirits. You got wicked spirits in you, you know? And at this time, your husband getting tormented, kids getting tormented, and you just bugging out. You talking about, you know what, just do what he say. Hey, your foremother didn't do that. It says she exhorted everyone of them in her own language, filled with courage of spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. And hey, she was going in because she had 6 sons. You got women, they use that, you know, manly stomach all the time, man. That's madness. Right? It says she said unto them, I cannot tell how ye came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you, but doubtless the creator of the world, who formed the generation of man and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as ye now regard not your lives for his law's sake. Right? She started to encourage her son, you know, hey, you gotta take this, man. And just by her speech, how Andrew encouraged her son. When you read on, I'm gonna jump down to verse 28. It says, I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth and all that is therein, and consider that God made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise. Fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren. Hey, that I may see you in the kingdom to come, man. You got to have this same faith, right? You got to remember, you got to go to the council of your foremothers and see if that's in you, right? Because it may be a time where, hey, all hell will break loose, man. Do you have that much faith in the Most High? Do you really believe that you will see your sons in the kingdom? You know, let's see what the sons say. All right. So like yeah. All right, verse. All right. I believe he said something. I was just reading it. I'm gonna read on down. I'm gonna finish that off. Right, verse 30, it says, while she was yet speaking these words, right, the young man said, whom wait ye for? I will not obey the king's commandment, but I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses. And see that she sparked that damn fire in him, man. By the words, the wisdom of her mouth, man. The wisdom of the Most High God was in her just because she had faith, right? She had a courageous spirit, man. Manly thoughts in her stomach. You got, Eve out here, they manly every day, man. Believe in astrology and having faith in horoscopes and, you know, just madness, burning sage and telling man that they gotta bow down and they goddesses. And no, the Lord's not dealing with that. Look who she had faith in, the Most High God. And she knew that he was a man. Not saying the women is God and all that, you know. But this is a topic, man, righteous women. This is one of the righteous women you should take heed to and see the spirit that she have. Do you have that same spirit? But you gotta
Yeah, she was mighty, man. She was look. It said she lost all her sons in one day. Losing a child, period, gotta just be just wild. God forbid anybody who watching this video or either one of us up here lose a child. Can you imagine losing all of them in one day and you watched it and you still like, hey, don't trip on these what they finna do to y'all. We believe in the Most High. That's a whole nother level. Hey, I got inspired. Listen, like, hold on, I don't even know if I'm on her level yet, man. To watch all my sons die and to be like, hey, don't worry, I'm gonna see y'all again. Where's the account of her saying, oh no, not my babies? And you know, it said, man, like the brother said, that manly stomach. So let me get this in Tobit chapter 2 and verse number 10. Right? Let's get another act of a mighty woman. Let's talk about Tobit's wife and what she did for him. Because she was a mighty woman also. This Tobit chapter 2 and verse number 10. And I knew not that there were sparrows in the wall, and mine eyes being open, the sparrows muted warm dung into mine eyes, and a whiteness came into mine eyes. And I went to the physicians, but they helped me not. Moreover, Archiacarus did not, Archiacarus, I hope I'm saying that right, did nourish me until I went into Elmaus. Verse 11, and my wife Anna did take women's works to do. Now, too long didn't read on that was Tobit ended up going blind. He couldn't see. Now, if you can't see, how you gonna go work? How you gonna go to work? I don't care what type of job you got. You know what I'm saying? Unless you Stevie Wonder or you Ray Charles, you need your eyes to do just about any job you could think of. So if you can't see, you still gotta eat. You still gotta live. You still gotta do all that. You still got a family. So what did his wife do? Did she get on Facebook complaining, oh, all these N-words broke? I can't mess with no broke Dusty. Help me out, Ock. What else they be saying about their own man, the man they supposed to be supporting? You know what I'm saying? You running his name down in the mud to your friends. Go ahead, Ock.
Man, he's insecure. That's what they like to say all the damn
Man,
time.
you know what I'm saying? He everything. Oh, if you I literally heard this on the internet one time. If you loved me, you wouldn't go broke. They was asking this woman, they was asking this Eve, they said, so wait a minute, if your man went broke, you wouldn't help him, you wouldn't. She was like, well, if he loved me, why would he end up going broke? Hey, man, that's how Eve think nowadays. Is that how Anna thought? Let's read this again. It's Tobit 2 and 11. And my wife, Anna, did take women's work to do. This is what she did. She said, I got this, baby. Don't even trip. I know, look, I know circumstances ain't permitting you to do what you want to do. I got you. I'm going to help out. Let's read what she did. Verse 12. And when she had sent them home to the owners, they paid her wages and gave her also besides a kid. And when it was in my house and began to cry, I said unto her, from whence is this kid? So a kid, for those who don't know, is an animal. It's a baby animal. We just gonna go with that for right now. It's a baby animal. So she brought a baby animal. Animals are valuable. Nowadays, imagine best I could use nowadays. Imagine how a little kid would feel if you brought home a new dog. You brought home a new cat, a new puppy or something. You know what I'm saying? That's a big thing. That's not nothing light. These are the type of things that she was getting for the work that she was putting in. They was giving her animals. They was paying her wages. Right? There's no account of her going to girls' night out with her homegirls, trying to recruit for a new man because her man, he can't work right now. He out of work for 6 months. He tore his ACL at work. He can't work. Now she on plenty of fish. You know, trying to find her a sugar daddy, man. What's the other one? I can't think of what it's called. The man, what is it called? Ah,
It's another word for it.
it's that website. Seeking Arrangements. That's what it is. Not she
I
ain't
don't know.
going on Seeking Arrangements. Anna ain't going Seeking Arrangements. No, I told it ain't cutting you no more. I need a friend. I need some company. Now she on Tinder. She wants you to swipe left or whatever direction. That's not what she did. She put that work. She said, "Okay, I got you. You went. Hey, my man went blind. They had a son too. If you read in Tobit, we not gonna give away the whole thing. They got kids, all type of things. She didn't run and abandon her family. She was a righteous woman. It says she took women's work to do. It didn't say she had to get out there, go to apply to Amazon, and she flipping 50-pound boxes and she go drive the forklift. It says she took women's work to do. But she did something. That's the point. She helped her man out. Let me get this in Sirach chapter 36 in verse 22. This chapter, Sirach chapter 36 in verse number 22. The beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man loveth nothing more. right? So a man love a beautiful woman. That's no secret. Everybody in the world know that. Little kids know that, right? But let's keep reading. If there be kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, then is not her husband like other men. Cause guess what? I don't care what type of woman you is. I guarantee your husband like pretty women. Guarantee it. That's nothing uncommon, you know. But if there be kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, then is her husband not like other men. A woman who is kind, a woman who is meek, which is humble, and a woman who comforts her husband, she's not just gonna be with any type of dude. That don't work like that. And if it do work, it ain't gonna work for long. That type of woman is gonna be with a certain type of dude, right? That's just how it has to work. If you got a woman who's Sarah was with Abraham for a reason, you know, Isaac was with Rebecca for a reason. Rebecca wasn't with Lil JJ that flipped packs on the corner. She wasn't. She was with Isaac, and guess what? Jezebel, that wicked woman, was with Ahab, that a weak dude. Because that's what wicked women get. They get weak dudes. When we brought out that verse earlier, and I'm gonna get that one more time, and I'm passing it right back to you. Let's get that verse again. This Sirach chapter 25, verse 23. It says, "A wicked woman abateth the courage." Right? There's no way you can have a man who is mentally strong if you are being a wicked woman, because by default, a wicked woman abates the courage. What happens when you got a mother in the house who is wicked, who talk to the kids crazy? What do the kids grow up to do? Right? You got people, when these kids be going to school and they be doing all this cussing and all this fighting, and I hate when people call kids bad. Like kids just come up with stuff on their own. Kids don't learn bad words, out of thin air. They learn it from us. They learn bad behavior from us. They learn anger from us. Right? More importantly, their mother, because they look at, hey, Jake don't love his mama. You know, let's be for real. Jake could do anything to you about his mama. You could say something about his mama wrong. You could look at his mama wrong, and he'll want to do something to you. So with that much input, that much influence is what I meant to say over the children. What do you think a wicked woman can do to her man?
Mute out. Yeah, it just like tweaked a little
No,
bit.
you got it. You get me?
Gone. Yeah, it like tweaked a little bit. Yeah, brother going in though, man. Yeah, you see Toba's wife, she did what she needed to do. She was being a helpmeet. Brother maybe loan the bills, hey, you gotta, pitch in. It's other, brothers wives that's working. They may do a part time. They the ones that just buy food while the man buy however he have his household, she just buy food and he take care of the bills. You're being a helpmeet. You're keeping the house. What's that precept? Let's go to that. Because a wicked woman, tear the house down. If we paraphrase it, because the the house, firm, right?
It's Proverbs 14:1.
Yeah. See that? Let's go to that. This Proverbs chapter 14, verse 1. It says, "Every wise woman buildeth her house," right? And you know, make sure the husband, he may say, if the man is on his business, say he said ahead of time, "Hey, I'm a little behind. We got a so and so," and she end up, with the money that she has, she saved up, she good with finances. And you got women that's not good with finances, man. Why you not good with finances? Yeah, your husband may be good with finances too. He may be good with finances, but it may be like why he's the only one, you know? So if you're not good with finances, what if it can happen? The Lord just, all hell break loose, and you not really doing what you're supposed to do as a woman, not being ready to help your husband. But it says, every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish pluck it down with her hands, right? And you keeping that house stable, you keeping that house built, and that's what Tobit wives did. She kept that house stable. They was poor, and knowing the works that Tobit did, they end up getting some, and she got the reward from the works he did of the Most High. And she had to let him know that, and he had to repent. you know. And look, they eating. Son got married. Hey, a lot of beautiful things happen. That's a righteous marriage, man. Right? Let me get this precept before I go to Luke. All right? Let me get a classic. This Sirach chapter 25, verse 1. It says, "In three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful, both before Yahweh and men. The unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, and a man and a wife that agree together." Right? And you have women that don't want to agree with nothing that a man says. They don't agree with him being the head of the household. They don't agree with him setting the order. They don't agree with him having a voice. It's wicked out here, man. There's women out here that if a man know what he wants or know what need to do or what to be said, they say that's sassy. It's madness. He's sassy. He feminine. This word is backwards, man. Backwards. Not saying that you should agree everything what that man says. If it's out of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Khan, agree. But if you disagreeing, hey, something ain't right, man. Right, so we go to Luke chapter 2, verse 36. I ain't trying to be too much, but we got to get I don't want to get too much because it's a lot we can say. But this Luke chapter 2, verse 36, right? It says, "And there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Penuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of a great age and had lived with an husband 7 years from her virginity." She only had one husband in her life. This was a righteous woman. Let's see how righteous she was. She had one husband in her life. And you see what's going on in today's world. They don't think sex is marriage. I don't even know if I can say that, but they don't think sex is marriage. So they out here just hopping around. That's Sirach 26, verse 12. They just hopping around. Just frogs, man. Confused. So it says she had lived with an husband 7 years from her virginity. She had one husband. Right? Knowing it says, and she was a widow of about 84 years. Right? 84 years she was a widow, which departed not from the temple, but served God with fasting and prayers night and day. How mighty is that? She didn't have a husband, but nobody told her, "Hey, you need to pray, you need to fast." She was mighty, man. This was night and day. This is something that she wanted to do because she loves the Lord. She wanted to commune with the Most High, right? She wanted to get spirits off her. She literally was paying attention to her spirit. How many women you gotta examine yourself to see if that's you. You only do things when your husband tell you to. Do you actually want to read yourself? Do you actually want to study yourself? Do you actually want to fast and pray on your own? Your husband doesn't have to tell you to do that. Yeah, we may fall short, but it shouldn't be every day. Hey, can you read this chapter real quick? You should be wanting to do those things. Yeah, it may be an order a day, a set schedule your husband may give you, but you should be wanting to do those things. It says fasting and prayers night and day. She was always abounding in the work of the Lord, man. That's mighty, right? Let's get Acts chapter 9, verse 36. Let's get another righteous woman, right? And as you read these accounts of your foremothers, like I say, you have to examine yourself. You have to examine yourself and see, is you moving in the spirit. I mean, this is written for our learning. Our foremothers and our forefathers. So if you're not moving in the spirit, you see you lacking in it. You got to get yourself together before the Lord closed that door. Because once that door closed, there's no more fastings. There's no more reading. There's no more studying. There's no more uh, prayers. Depending on if how many times you prayed in a day, because you may pray and the Lord may not hear your prayer because you don't fast night and day how Anna does, right? You didn't have that spirit. This Acts chapter 9, verse 36. It says, now there was Joppa, a certain disciple named with Tabitha, which by interpretation is called Dorcas. This woman was full of good works and alms deeds, which she did, right? And it says she was full of good works. You got to examine yourself. Are you full of good works? You know, are you full with good works and alms deeds? Because alms, hey, that gets sins off you, man. And you know what's crazy? The Lord, this may be my opinion, but the Lord has more mercy on the women than a man. That's my opinion. Because y'all the weaker vessel. So if you're not giving alms, getting those sins off you, hey, that's you gotta question yourself, man. All right, let's get that. Let's go to Sirach chapter 29. Let's see how important alms is. This Sirach chapter 29, verse 12. It says, shut up alms in thy storehouses, and it shall deliver thee from all affliction. It says, shut up alms in thy storehouses, and it shall deliver thee from all affliction. So you giving alms, it will save you, it will deliver you, from all affliction, from all the good works that you've done as a righteous woman. Look at Dorcas, Anna. They're doing mighty work. Hey, they here today. Somebody from Asher is Anna. Right? Somebody is Dorcas. Somebody's Mary. Right? What works are you doing? Right? Let's get another one. Let's get Tobit, class. Tobit chapter 4. This Tobit chapter 4, verse 7. It says, give alms of thy substance, and when thou givest alms, let not thy hand be envious, neither turn thy face from any poor, and the face of God shall not be turned away from thee. Hey, and that's what Dorcas was doing, man. She was giving alms. She was not grievous. She was not envious, right? She was willing to do those things, right? She was willing to do those things. Let's jump down to verse 10. It says, because that alms do deliver from death. It said it again. That would deliver you from death, man, right? So as Dorcas was giving alms and willingly giving, you should too. I remember a story. I remember when I was in the world, this a time I wasn't even driving then, but everybody was driving before me. I was always walking. I didn't mind it though. I was always walking. And I seen a sister pull up on me like, what you want? I'm like, I'm just chilling, man. I'm just walking. I'm finna go down the street, blah, blah, blah. She thought I was asking for a ride, but I wasn't asking for nothing. And she gave me the look like, "Well, I ain't finna give you no ride." I'm like, yo, not even knowing that if you would have gave me a ride, the Lord would have helped you. But hey, she don't know the Lord. I didn't know him either at that time. But now I'm in his truth and knowing what the power of alms will do for you. Hey, you know, it would literally deliver you from death. So it may be a time where you might end up getting tortured. The works that you've done will recompense, right? All the righteousness will recompense. Most High willing, right? So the mighty works of our foremothers, you got to examine yourself, because this is what a righteous woman will move. But you got to
Lucky, just one of them days, man. But yeah, but arms is so. I'm gonna show you how important arms is. In verse number, what verse do I want? What is that? Verse 18, verse 24. It's all right. 40 and 24. Brethren and help are against time of trouble, but arms shall deliver more than them both. Right. So it's telling you, like, imagine if remember when you was a kid and you might have got beat up at the park or somebody was trying to fight you, whatever. You talking about, I'm finna go get my brothers in there. Y'all know what I mean? That's what this talking about. It's in the same way that would deliver you out of the time of trouble. Arms is gonna be better than both of those. Your arms can deliver you better than having people to fight for you there. Like the brother said, it can deliver you. You can be recompensed later on for something that you did righteous for your arms. That's not just for the men. That's for the women too. Hey, all these women we done been bringing up, we still talking about them to this day. They wasn't. This story wasn't written a couple days ago. You know what I'm saying? Tobit and Anna wasn't a couple days ago. Who did you bring out in Luke chapter 2? What was the sister name?
Anna.
Anna. Another Anna. That Anna wasn't 3 days. That wasn't last week. And Luke just kind of wrote it. Okay, yeah, Anna last week. You know what I'm saying? Right before the fourth. She was shaking the hand. It didn't say that. This was years and thousands of years ago. And that's what these women understood was doing good works. Contrary to popular belief, our culture is not what it is today. Our culture ain't BBLs. That's not our culture. Can't read about that in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Twerking, can't read about that in the Bible. WAP, can't read about that in the Bible. But what you can read about is women. Let's get that. Let's get Judith. Let's get one of the mightiest women you could ever read about ever. I mean, Judith was so cold, man. Hey, whatever brother got Judith nowadays in today's time, brother, the Lord shines upon you. Let me tell you that. Because Judith wasn't no joke. Right? It's Judith. I'm gonna get straight to it. Right. Like, you know where the point is, right? Where she just got to it. I think it's
It's
chapter 7.
chapter 13.
13? Okay.
Um,
13 is when she got him out of there. But right now, I'm not gonna spoil the whole book of Judith, but you got to really get in there to understand the story and how mighty she was from beginning to end. It's Judith chapter 13 and verse. Let me see where I want to start. Verse number 4. It says, "So all went forth." I'm gonna start at verse 2. Let's get the whole thing. And Judith was left alone in the tent, and Holofernes lying along upon his bed, for he was filled with wine. Right? Now Judith had commanded her maid to stand without her bedchamber and to wait for her coming forth as she did daily. For she said she would go forth to her prayers, and she spake to Bagos according to the same purpose. Right? So to catch y'all up, Holofernes is this heathen who think that he about to get this Israelite woman. That's what he think in his mind. But let's see how cold Judith is. Let's see if Judith was too slow to see his plan. Right? It says, "So all went forth, and none was left in the bedchamber, neither little nor great." So now it's Judith then got everybody to leave. Now it's just her and him. Let's see what happens. Oh, and then Judith, standing by his bed, said in her heart, "O Lord God of all power, look at this present upon the works of mine hands for the exaltation of Jerusalem." For it didn't say, you know, oh, Lord, let me trap this man with a baby. That's not what she said. She's still thinking about her people. She's thinking about the homeland. She's thinking about Jerusalem. She said, "Lord, help me to glorify that." That's what she's thinking in her mind. Let's keep reading. Verse 5, "For now is the time to help thine inheritance, and to execute mine enterprises to the destruction of the enemies which are risen against us." Her mind was different. She said, Lord, I'm finna destroy the enemies that came up against my people. Imagine you had a woman that said that. Oh, they want to come up against my brothers. I destroy. Lord, let anybody be destroyed that come up against them brothers that's going to camp. You know, let anybody be destroyed that's going up against them brothers who went to the 4th of July rebuke in DC. That went down to Memphis. You know what I'm saying? That all the people in the truth, whether you in the camp or not. Just imagine. That's being a righteous one. That's righteous right there. Let me read that again. Let me read verse 5. It's Judah 13 and verse 5. For now is the time to help thine inheritance, and to execute mine enterprises to the destruction of the enemies which are risen against us. She talking to the Lord like, Lord, now it's time. Oh, yeah, it's time. Now is the time, Lord. Yo, I got one of your enemies right in front of me. Put it in my hands to destroy this man. Right? She wasn't thinking of destroying her own people. She was think of this as the women. I remember it's the civil rights picture where I think they was trying to put the dogs on this Jake, and you got Eve standing in front of him. I think she had like a bat in her hand or something like that, defending Jake from the dog. All right, I wish I had the picture. I wish you had the laptop. We could show the picture. But that's how our women used to move. She putting herself in danger. Now that's not to say we want the women to necessarily put their life in danger if they don't have to, but just having a mind to be willing to is a whole nother level, and that's what Judith had. Hey, anything could have happened in there. They said it was just Judith and him in that room. He could have went upside her head. Could anything happen? But either way, she had enough faith in the Most High to be like, Lord, work through me to destroy to the destruction of your enemies. Now let's see what she did, and then you got it. This is my last thing. Verse 6. Then she came to the pillar of the bed, which was at Holofernes' head, and took down his falchion from thence. A falchion, because we don't use them words no more. It's a sword. Think about it like a sword. She took down a big old sword that I imagine it, in my mind, he had it sitting on the wall. She kind of took down the sword off the wall while he was there. He passed out drunk. And let's see what she did to her enemy. And approached to his bed, and took hold of the hair of his head, and said, Strengthen me, O Lord God of Israel, this day. And she smote twice upon his neck with all her might. And she got down. She wasn't just talking. When she prayed to the Lord, like, hey, to the destruction of the enemies that's risen against us, she was willing to put her hand to the plow when she said that. Now, Eve, we're not telling you to go out there and slay nobody, okay? Let's just, WFI Milwaukee didn't say on no video that y'all supposed to be out here chopping nobody's head. We're not saying that. We saying to have that spirit for your people, to be willing to do anything to defend your people, to defend God's people. That's how our women should think. It shouldn't be, oh, I want to do anything to get as much Instagram attention as I can. That's not what Judith was worried about. And if you read about it, if you read Judith, the way it described it, Judith was cold. Judith was not ugly. Judith was everything. Hey, she was all of that, but that wasn't where her mind was at. She was fine, but her mind was on her works, not how she looked. So, hey, we got to really learn. When she was she could have put herself first. She could have put anything else. That's what a righteous woman does. But that's the last thing I got. You got it.
Con, man, that sword wasn't light. Swords in the ancient world was very heavy. So that lets you know that she got some strength. She has strength.
I'm gonna look up how much it weighed right quick. Hold on.
Con, yeah, look that up. Cause this is in the ancient world, man. This ain't no the swords you find at damn Toys R Us, even though we know Toys R Us gone now. But these ain't the swords you find at Toys R Us in these arcades, man. This is an ancient sword, right? Handcraft, right? You know, yeah. Look up how much swords weigh back then. I hold actually a sword before. I had one. It's damn. It could have been about maybe 30 to 40. I could be wrong though. It could have been like 30 or 25. Could have been 25. Maybe more than that, but it could be 25 though. It could be 25. But I go to this last precept through the spirit. That's mighty, man. And you know, Judah, she used her beauty. She used her beauty to save the nation of Israel, man.
Salaki, yeah, it wasn't trying to show me for real.
They weren't trying to show you for real.
Yeah, it wasn't trying to, because it kept trying to take me all over the place. But them swords was heavy, man. If you look up how much swords used to weigh, like the brother said, 30 pounds, 25, like them was not like at all.
Right, in the ancient world. Because you know, Rome, the time when the Romans was ruling, that's like the Middle Ages. So that's like the Iron Age. So it says ancient swords generally weigh between 2.5 to and 3.5 pounds, like 1.1 or 2, 1.1 to 1.6 kilograms, with some varies depending on the specific type and era, while some swords like two-headed great swords could be heavier. The majority of swords used by knights and soldiers were designed to be relative. How you say that? Relatively, Salakia. All right, light and well balanced for
Relatively.
yeah, relatively. Yeah, that tongue twister. Yeah, man. But it said relatively light and well balanced for effective combat. So depending on what sword she grabbed, it was a sword. It don't really say. It could have been heavy. It could have been not. But just know she picked it up. And all that she used her beauty to save the nation of Israel. When you have our sisters out here using their beauty to get over a man, using their beauty to literally take his credit, destroy his credit, destroy his bank account, or just use her beauty just be wicked, man, just to get more money. You see it today, women using their beauty to make millions of dollars. It's not in righteousness, you know. So hey, that's a mighty full mother you need to take part of. Cause just imagine, you know, our women, which is a fairy tale really. All the women have, modest apparel and they use their beauty to destroy the kingdom of Esau. Hey, we'll be having slaves right now. You know, we'll be having slaves right now, man. Bombs will be dropping quick, right? Poverty will increase, right? Hey, but you got to follow that. You got to take heed to that. That's mighty what Judith did, and she was Let's get that. Hold on, Salakia, because she kept increasing through the spirit even after that. It didn't stop. She didn't had a nice little season and that was it, right? Let me see. Let me see. If I'm not mistaken, right? That should be Judah. It might have been before, but I could be wrong. All right, this is. Let me see what I wanted. Right. So this is Judah chapter 16, verse 23. It says, "But she increased more and more in honor and waxed old in her husband's house, being 105 years old, and made her maid free. So she died in Bethulia, and they buried her in the cave of her husband, Manasseh." Right. Verse 24, it says, "The house of Israel lamented her 7 days, right? I believe that was before, but it says she increased more and more in honor. She increased more and more. She also was fasting every day as well. Let's get that. That's the precept I wanted. It should be, it may have been before though. Right? Right. Hey, this is a mighty book, man. This is a mighty book. All right. So let me see. It should be Judah chapter 12. I don't want to be long. Or Judah 11. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Salakia. Somewhere in here, man. I could have passed it. Damn, man, I hate when that happened. Right? All praise to the Most High Lord when the Lord allowed me to get to it. Right? It's in the cut. I probably passed it. But, you know, she fasted every day, man. She increased more and more. So you got to ask yourself, are you increasing more and more? Or are you stagnant? You know, are you actually being a help me towards your husband? Or are you just a body in the house? You know? So I want to go to Luke. That's the last piece I want to bring out. I want to go to Luke chapter 1, but I want to see through the spirit. All right. Damn. It's like it, man. Damn, man.
They said it's the 8th chapter in the comments.
It is. See, I was probably looking at it. Judah chapter 8. All right.
That's the spirit too, because I'm right here in the 8. I'm trying to find it.
I found it. Right. This Judah chapter 8, verse 6. All praise to the Most High, the water, elder. Right. It reads, and she fasted all the days of widowhood, save the eves of the Sabbaths, and the Sabbaths, and the eves of the new moon, and the new moons, and the feasts, and solemn days of the house of Israel. It says she fasted all the days of her widowhood, man. Yeah, hey, you know, a lot of women don't like to be alone. But you had Anna and Judith literally didn't want to be with another man. They like, "Look, I'm just serving the Lord. Now, I ain't, you know, I'll praise to the Most High. You know, you got Eve. They just automatically just want to hop on another arrow. Oh, I got, you know, that's just what they want to do. That's what they doing nowadays. You know, just jumping, just jumping to jump. You know, just jumping. Damn crisscross spirit, man. Right? Jump. That's all they want to do. Right? It's madness, but that's what it is. But from her widowhood, she fasted, man. She went to serve the Lord, and she increased more and more. And you got wicked women and wicked men as well that's not increasing. They have a season and it just go downhill. But hey, this was an everyday thing. How all of us has to move, right? So this is the last precept, right? This is Luke chapter 1, verse 5. It says, there was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth, right? It says, and they were both right before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord, blameless. It said that Elizabeth was blameless. It said that Zacharias was blameless, right? And this is how we have to move, you know, as men and women, right? You know, this is a righteous woman, another righteous woman that we speak about. It's a lot of wicked women and a lot of righteous women in the Bible, but you know who you should be actually following after, or what your spirit should be like is the righteous woman. Elizabeth, Anna, Judith, Deborah. Um, you have Mary, Sarah. right? Hannah, having faith in the Lord, she was barren, and as she prayed to the Most High, the Lord heard her, and she did exactly what she said. She was a woman of her word. Let's get that real quick, man. But we gotta move blameless, man. Elizabeth was blameless. How many? And this is a question for the women, though. How many women you know that's blameless living today? And we can leave it at that. So let's go to Hannah, right? This First Samuel, right? She was a woman of her word, man, right? Right. This First Samuel chapter. All right. Let me see what I want. Right. This First Samuel chapter 1, verse 9. It says, "So Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon a seat by a post of the temple of the Lord, and she was in bitterness of soul, and prayed unto the Lord, and wept sore." Just how she wept sore and prayed unto the Lord because bitterness of soul, she didn't go to the club, put on heels and tight pants and go freak off. In the ancient world, they'll just cover themselves, disguise themselves, and go freak off with fringes on, right? But she went to pray towards the Lord while she's feeling bitter. She didn't go to anything that was going to defile her temple, right? Right. So a reason saying, and she was in bitterness of soul and prayed unto the Lord and wept sore. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thy handmaid and remember me and not forget thy handmaid, but will give unto thy handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. Right. And it came to pass as she continued praying before the Lord that Eli marked her mouth. Because there's a time where the husband, if the husband hears the wife, make a vow, he the ones that be able to accept it or not, you know. But it seemed how upset she were, how sad she were because she was barren, right? She couldn't have any children. Yeah. So he marked her mouth, like, okay, all right, that's doable. You could do that. And first of all, he believed that she would able to partake in that. That was her spirit, knowing that she was a woman of her word, man. You got to be a man of your word in this truth. You got to be a woman of your word in this truth. The Lord will take account of everything that you say. Is you gonna do it or not? Right. So let's go to First Samuel chapter 2. I stay at 1. All right. All right. Let me see. Right, verse 19. It says, "And they rose up in the morning early and worshiped before the Lord and returned and came to their house to Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah his wife." Right. "And the Lord remembered her," right, which was Eli marked her mouth, paid attention to what she said. Right. But verse 20, it says, "Wherefore it came to pass when the time was come about after Hannah had conceived that she bare a son and called his name Samuel, saying, because I had asked him of the Lord," right? Because God has heard, right? All praise to the Most High, right? Acts of God has, God has heard acts of God. All praise to the Most High. So that's why she named him Samuel. Right? Read on, it says, "And the man Elkanah and all his house went up to offer unto the Lord the yearly sacrifice in his vow." Right? And she ended up doing that as she vowed. And this is why she said in chapter 2, verse 3, "Talk no more exceeding proudly, and let not arrogancy come out of your mouth. For the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed." That's why she spoke these things, because she vowed a vow. If you give me this kid, Lord, I will give him up to you. He would not cut the hairs of his head, right? Being a Nazarite. And look what happened. She did exactly what she said. So as a man or woman, really as a woman, that's a topic. Gotta be a woman of your word, man. All right. So all praise to the Most High, Lord willing. The woman was edified. Amen. And you stay in the spirit. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Shalom.